Ja, men det är ta falter over stakket di Radio Maria era an maden bra sha de Kedina. First Fast, Wednesday, the 23rd of March. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Maria Ireland. Father Eamonn with you here from our studio today, so hopefully no glitchiness going on. Yesterday was a happy day. It was Skype dropping out left, right, and centre, and all kinds of little interruptions and things cutting across us. Thanks very much, Eamonn. Very good. Got my glass of water here, so I'm good to go. And so apologies for that. Yesterday's broadcast was a bit of a hames, and I started choking in the middle of it as well, which was kind of odd. So anyway, please God, we're back on track, and a normal service is being resumed. So shout out to everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for your company today. Nice to have you with us. And please do get in touch. The usual drill, if you would like to text and WhatsApp us here, 089 467 2000 plus 353 89 467 2000. Give us a call. Margaret is downstairs very kindly volunteering with some lovely volunteers coming in to us during the week now, and we welcome others too if you'd like to do some small, very simple little office administration work maybe, or just answering the phone. You might like to combine that with a little bit of adoration as well in our adoration in our studio chapel between Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's a nice thought maybe too. So do give a call on 014123456 plus 35314123456, and very happy to take your call, your prayer requests, your music requests, perhaps your thoughts, ideas, questions, feedback, interaction in any way with us. Please do get in touch. Feel free indeed, and write to us here. We always like to get correspondence. Radio Maria Ireland, St. Anthony's Business Park, Ballymount Road, Dublin 22, D22 or 7W2 will find us for the air code there. So we do like to hear from you. Thanks indeed. And again, like, share, follow, subscribe on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter accounts. The social media, again, is just another place to be, and to be preaching on that street corner, the speaker's corner of the cyberspace. And it carries its own risks. Much like Speaker's Corner in London. Happy memories, happy days. I told you about my time there. Nerve-wracking experience that was, but a great inauguration into the idea of bearing public witness. And it's not as bad as it seems in the end. You know, you expect to get a certain amount of resistance. It happens. And, you know, if things really go well for you, expect to get a lot of resistance. That happens too. Because the naysayers will always be there to move in. The ones with the negative, again, the bellyachers, they're not far away. There'll always be somebody to take issue and to so on. And just have to roll with a certain amount of that as well. And I might just say, I want to just touch in on that topic, if I may, and get a small bit cross, as a father should get cross. You know, the way the Lord kind of got cross with the apostle, with Peter, and get this out here, stop turning my father's house into a marketplace. Well, just to begin with, the kind of preface where my crossness with just the amazing moment in the history of the church that is to take place this Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock our time, 5 o'clock Roman time, where Pope Francis will consecrate Russia and the Ukraine and the world to the Immaculate Heart of Mary in communion as requested with all the bishops of the world and the priests and religious and lay faithful alike. It is a monumental moment of prayer to Our Blessed Lady. Has there ever been such a time? Ever in the history of the ever church? No, this is simply beyond the beyonds, and I'm looking forward to just grappling with the text of the consecration and sharing it with you. Now here's the bit where I get cross, because already there are those lining up who, the naysayers, again, the bellyachers, excuse me, those who would suggest that the consecration of the Pope John Paul II, St. John Paul II, made on the 25th of March 1984, without explicitly mentioning Russia, the naysayers would say, well, not good enough, that's not what Our Lady asked, not the right answer, no wonder we're in the mess we're in. And there are the naysayers already. And how do I know? Because I'm getting texts and WhatsApps and people are circulating these things. Please don't. Please stop doing that. It makes me cross, because there are those who say, well, whatever text the Pope is using or the formula the Pope is using, he's still not doing it right. Exasperation. Throw eyes to heaven in one fell swoop. Will you stop? Cut that out. It's a little bit like a child in the back of the car giving out to daddy as he's driving along. Daddy, you're going too fast. Daddy, you're going too slow. Daddy, don't forget to turn left. Daddy, do you not trust your father who's driving you and trying to get you to your destination? It feels a bit like that at times. And would there be any, would you blame poor daddy for getting frustrated and exasperated and say, will you sit down, put on your belt, relax, we're going to get there. Stay put. So please don't circulate that stuff. Don't buy into that stuff. These poor bellyachers and moaners and groaners, nothing, it seems, nothing will please them. I won't name names, or there's various associations or whatever, and I'm wasting too much time on it already. Don't want to give it oxygen. Please veer away from that, because at best what's going on is the child syndrome in the back of the car, backseat driver. At worst, and it's more likely the case, it's veering towards schism. And schism means, or sedevacantism, these are two interesting words. Schism is like a separation from the church. If you don't have the steering wheel, and I'm talking to the people with the bellyachers, and yet you want the steering wheel, and you have no idea what's going on or what the Pope has to deal with or contend with, or who are you in the back seat to tell the Pope what to do? And that who since when are you Our Lady's representative as to how everything should be done? This kind of, stop it already. So it's diabolic in its own little way, because it's creating division and sort of undermining our trust and our faith and our confidence in the Holy Father and his office. Whatever issues you may have with the person of the Holy Father, the office of the Holy Father is essential. This is part of our faith, and we do well to support the Pope and accompany the Pope and back him up and journey with him. We don't always have to, kind of agree in full technicolor, but let the Pope do his job. Let him lead us and let us follow him. And in something such as this, it seems to me everybody should be up and out and off their chairs and on their knees, or leaning into this with maximum weight to steer the ship on the right path. Keep in mind, too, that this wonderful act of consecration, which is the most extraordinary moment, as I say, is not like a formula that you flip a switch. It's not like a handle you pull or a button you press and kaboom, instant sort of answer. Please God that heaven will intervene and somehow steer the course of history in favour of peace and the era of peace that Our Blessed Lady promised. But, and here's the small print, here's the terms and conditions associated with an act of consecration. It's not just like, painting something in a new colour. There's a deep internal grace of conversion and of redirection and of transformation that's needed. Just a radical, this is what consecration means. We've got our 33-day consecration preparation playing for in the morning. I noticed that it's the 8th of December, 33 days that we put on, and not the 25th of March one, so apologies for that too. But some lovely meditations with Father John there in the morning. And the Radio Maria throughout the world consecrates itself. It's kind of a big consecration day of consecrating our work and everything to her, to Jesus, through her. And here's what consecration means. It's something that's lived. It's something that's practiced. It's something that's acquiesced to. Like I say, it's not just a formula like turning on a light or a sudden, waving of a wand. That's nothing. Is none of those things. consecration. And the Lord's Prayer, Father Billy was chatting about this earlier on the breakfast show, worth listening back to. We mentioned the Lord's Prayer at the first Mass, the Last Supper, which we will renew very soon, Holy Week, where he consecrates, himself to the Father, and he seeks to consecrate the disciples and those with him to the Father in the same way. Again, it's not a prosaic formula. This is a giving, a handing over of self. This is a personal journey, a transformation, again, repent and believe the good news moment, which means a change of heart, a change of lifestyle, a change of just direction and orientation in how we live and what we believe and how we practice that faith. So please, 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 please spare me the belly aching, spare me the fault finding, spare me all of that, backseat driving. Just is not helpful. So do not circulate these things. Do not buy into them. Do not become part of those who are on the fence and passing remarks. Weep for yourselves and for your children. In other words, bring about your own conversion. Start on the path somehow. Help the Holy Father. Don't criticize. Bad move. Really bad idea. Help him. Join with him in the consecration. So please join us on Friday afternoon. We will have, as an extra bonus, because we're already going to do it, we have the Rosary on the Feast of the Annunciation from Nazareth. What a lovely location from where to pray the Rosary. We did it last year too, and last year was our first year of the title they've given in English is a bit clunky, but it's probably better in Italian. But the way it's Your People Making Their Way was kind of the best English I could put on their Italian. It could do with a kind of a completely different title, but anyway, it's what they've called it. This is the World Family of Radio Maria. Your People Making Their Way. The idea of a pilgrim way, and so each of the main feast days of Our Blessed Lady, we're going to these beautiful shrines. So the 7th of October, the Feast of the Holy Rosary, we were from the Shrine of Pompeii, if you remember last year. It's a rosary shrine in Italy. The 11th of February, just past, we were broadcasting from Lourdes. That is, all of the Radio Maria stations all over the world, simultaneously broadcasting this rosary live from Lourdes. And so this Friday, it's going to be broadcast live from Nazareth, and the Rosary prayed in Arabic and in Latin, I think was the way they did it last year. And I'll be doing the English voiceover for that, for the meditations. And just keep that in mind. It's just absolutely brilliant, Brillo pads, that this is happening, because it's just going to lead in, and it wasn't premeditated, but the Rosary takes about the hour or so, as we found with the lovely singing and the little bit of a homily at the end. And that will set us up, and we'll just continue the broadcast into the Pope's consecration of Russia and the Ukraine and the world to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Perfect timing. So if Our Lady isn't, this is what I mean, stop the belly aching, back off. Quit it already. I'm getting cross then, you know what I mean? That if this isn't Our Lady's hand at work, come on. What do we got to do here? That here we have Radio Maria set up this past 40 years. Curiously, I might add, and not that long after the consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, insofar as the formula the Pope used in 1984. That, interestingly, coincidentally, providentially, was around the time that Radio Maria was being born. Radio Maria was being born. Remember that she promised that, if we didn't repent, or the consecration would help to prevent the spread of the errors of Russia throughout the world. It was 1989 when we did the fall of the Iron Curtain. Hello, just turn back the pages of history and see how, things changed. So, and you had the assassination attempt, of course, on Pope John Paul II too, back in 1981. He was already, turning the wheels and the cogs through the Solidarity movement in Poland at the time. And it brought about a great upheaval, and it was a kind of a bloodless ending to the Cold War. Most extraordinary. Most extraordinary. Now, here we are 40 years on, is it? 85, 95, yeah, 40 years on, or nearly 50, is it? And things, the pages of history have turned, and it most certainly is time again to consecrate ourselves and indeed these beleaguered countries to Our Lady once more, and pray indeed again for that transformation. Bear in mind that in Poland, certainly, there was a huge social movement, solidarity movement under Lech Wałęsa, to bring about the change in conversion there, where the people themselves had come forward to resist the influence of communism. They'd had enough. So this is where the people, again, this is again sort of the stuff of consecration. It's not just, again, the occasion, it's not so much the formula, it is the changing of minds and hearts, our minds and our hearts. So at that time, we can look back now and see Radio Maria was just being born at that time in the mid-1980s. Extraordinary. Small little seedling. And by the 90s, it had grown enormously in Italy and had started spreading to Latin America. And here we are 40 years on, and Radio Maria is in 80-odd countries around the world, something like 85 stations. I haven't seen the latest statistics, but with new radios just begun in Portugal and one in England. Here in Europe, 30 Radio Maria stations in Europe, 25, give or take, in Africa, and just about to take off in Nigeria and South Sudan. More about that when our Mariathon comes around early May. We'll fill you in on all the wonderful ambitions that Radio Maria has in the world to, again, continue the conquest of our Blessed Lady. So here we are today. Could anybody have foreseen it? When we are able, with technology, and I might just say, not the only instrument. There are many, many other wonderful, wonderful instruments too. Good Catholic channels on YouTube, on wherever else, every other social media platform, Catholic TV channels. It's absolutely marvelous what's there and available. And even, Vatican Radio and Vatican itself. So, I think the Pope has the biggest Twitter account on Twitter. I know, millions of followers. Breaking the internet with the presence. This isn't divine providence at work too. So again, you can see how I'm just annoyed with all the belly achers, because quit it already, stop it, and use that good energy to just get on board. Come on, there's work to be done, a ton of work to be done. And Our Lady has been providing us with these instruments. And if Radio Maria isn't one of those, listen, go on away home. Give up altogether. There's no doubt, there's absolutely no doubt that we've been given an amazing providential part in our times that we are called to live up to. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there are naysayers. Yes, there is opposition. Yes, there is persecution. All of this was foretold back to sacred scripture, the time of Christ himself. But that's not our concern insofar as we are called to be faithful and to play our part nobly in the time that's given to us with the means that are at our disposal. Just as our great Irish ancestors left this country in droves to bring the gospel to the ends of the earth, not once but twice, the Dark Ages and in the 19th and 20th centuries. And still, there are missionaries. And now we have missionaries coming back to us, which is brilliant as well, helping to rebuild and rekindle the faith here too. So there's a huge task at hand, excuse me, and it just doesn't do well to be giving out and to be finding fault, because that's the easiest thing in the world to do. So let's get on board and see Our Lady's hand at work. And just a beautiful thing about Radio Maria too. I just like the way it's sort of so gentle in some ways, and so, what's the word? It's sort of, again, that lovely expression that one listener gave us, sanctifying the airways, kind of infiltrating and like a warm summer breeze, kind of just wafting in the window, the open window. It's a beautiful day outside, just that brings that to mind. just a gentle, warm presence that's there for those who are able to breathe it in and experience it. So listen, please do whatever you can to let others know about this gift. Our Lady is with us. She's working with us. She's accompanying us. She's very much present in a very sort of gentle, unassuming way. And just this moment, I'm just in awe really at this extraordinary moment on Friday. If it isn't Our Lady's hand somehow at work, So that's why. So I'm allowed to get cross today, and I hope you understand. But look, stop. Use that good energy. Come on board with us. So listen, thanks so much again. If I can just say that, because it is lovely when we travel around. We meet so many people. In fact, there's a little excursion going out today promoting on the north side of the city here in Dublin. And Ruth will tell you all about it a little bit later on. And we are looking forward to heading to Banbridge, first weekend in April, with God's help, in the north. Looking forward to that visit too. And we've fixed our date for Waterford. It moves slightly. It'll be early May, I think, please God, as well. And we'll, in the meantime, be trying to get ourselves hither and yon around the country. So simply, join the revolution. Now, again, I don't mean that with a capital R. It's a very silent, very gentle, very, again, like the still small voice. In Scripture, Elijah. It wasn't the earthquake and the wind or the fire or the dramatic, earth-shaking moments. It was in the still small voice, the gentle breeze, that Elijah encountered the Lord. And I see Radio Maria as that still, gentle, again, breath coming to us from heaven. Really is most extraordinary. So please do continue the good work you're doing and letting others know about Radio Maria. Continue the good work you're doing and praying for us, praying with us. Continue the good work of supporting us with your alms giving. And we are in fairly stretched state, and with on that department. We'll chat about that again. But again, anything you can do to help us in that area. The World Family really are looking for us to become self-sufficient and have stepped back a little bit, so it really has left us quite stretched. So anything you can do to help in that way, very, very greatly appreciated. Actually, just to sow a little seed, and if I may just briefly in that area, we'll be asking of you and putting it to you. We might put a little jingle or two together and just create a little leaflet, as do so many other charities as well, to consider just leaving a little space for us in your will. It's a great way to, and a kind of a painless way, I suppose, in some ways as well, to support great charitable work. And I might just say in that regard, always ensure the well-being of your family and your dependents when it comes to a last will and testament. Make sure you have one done and written up and ready to go. And you can add a little codicil or a codicil, if that's the correct pronunciation, of a little extra clause that you'd like to include a certain charity as part of your bequests. And there's lots and lots and lots of fabulous charities indeed that you can support. I have 10 or 20 on my list that I can think of straight away. So if you could help Radio Maria in that regard to just slot us in there, please consider it. And it would be, again, just perpetuating the great blessings that Radio Maria is able to give. And you have my assurance that, and I can show you if you wish, every last penny that comes in the door goes right back out the door in keeping us on air and sharing this, again, lovely, gentle waft of warm, supportive breath of the Holy Spirit from heaven to many souls. So it is an extraordinary ministry. Never thought I'd end up here myself. The Lord has his own way of working. And thank you again. You see, we wouldn't be here if it was not for you, all our dear listeners and friends. We just could not. It would not be possible. And we've only been sustained thus far by so many other listeners of other stronger radio stations, which have come to subvent and to allow us that extra funding we need to get us to where we need to pay all our bills. So like I say, we're well short of it these days. And we need those of you who maybe haven't sought to donate before, maybe set up a little standing order. Certainly consider a little place in your will for us too. And we realize that that won't come in the door today or tomorrow. And we certainly don't want to for you to pass away anytime soon either. That's not what's in our minds, but it's just kind of investing in the future well-being of this great gift and this great blessing really is what that is. So we'll chat with you more about that another time. So there you are. That's my little statement, I suppose, in relation to the consecration, and really looking forward. It'll be, like I say, an historic moment in the life of the Church without any doubt. And wouldn't it be beautiful indeed if so many people can join in with that prayer and fasting and pleading with the Lord through Our Lady to bring peace. And who knows what may come of that, and what blessing may well come from heaven indeed from that too. So thanks be to God. God is good, and there are amazing things happening. So now let's pause for a little piece of music to take a little breather. Aidan's looking after me there in the mixing desk today. So please do text in, please do email in, please do get in touch with us here. We always like to hear from you. Very good, and we'll be back after this little break. Again, 089 467 2000 to text, and give a call on 014 123456. Thanks, Aidan. We're good to go and back very shortly.
Here at Radio Maria Ireland, we are delighted to hear from our listeners through correspondence, phone calls, or other social media platforms. Why not join me on Your Say every Monday to Friday, directly after midday prayer, where I will share some of your messages and letters and phone calls that we have received. If you would like to contact us or send us some feedback, you can write to us at St. Anthony's Business Park, Ballymount Road, Dublin 22. You can email at info@radiomaria.ie. You can phone us on 01 412 3456 or text or WhatsApp us on 089 467 2000.
Very good. Welcome back to Chatechesis. Christ Alone there, sung by Celtic Worship. Lovely piece of music. Thanks, Aidan. Very good, and thank you too for listening in and for getting in touch. I hear they had a lovely visit of promotion this morning. Mary Fitzpatrick there sent me a text, and very impressed indeed with the work done today. So you'll hear all about that a little bit later on. Just this weekend coming up, there's a one-day Catholic Apologetics conference for young adults. It's this Saturday between 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. and the cost is €38, which includes a booking fee and also includes the dinner and refreshments and the social gathering in the evening. So it's at All Hallows College there. It's now DCU, Dublin City University campus, and All Hallows, lovely, of course, traditional seminary of the Vincentians. For years and years they preserved the lovely college chapel there and some of the history indeed of the vocations that stemmed from there. So it's a one-day Catholic apologetics, so in other words engaging with the faith and explaining the faith, and it's for young adults. So indeed, if you'd like to join that, we hope to be there. I have a little presence there for some of that. Father Brendan Kilcoyne will be there, faith-splaining, that expression, mansplaining, faith-splaining, the importance of apologetics in Ireland today. Father Francis Gavin, is that in the Gospels, the idea of dogma, a very interesting talk. And the National Dominican Sisters will also be speaking. Jesus, yes. The Church, ? No. Answering a modern cliche. You know, those say, well, I believe in Jesus, but I have no time for the institutional, organizational, hierarchical, patriarchal, adjective church. So that will be addressed in that conversation too. And there'll be a workshop as well on Catholic culture from smartphones to God. Father Gavin Jennings there, and Magnus Monaghan will speak about medieval music in modern liturgy. I can't believe it. So we'll be speaking about plain chant. I'm sure they're lovely. So some nice topics there. To book, just go to evangelium.ie, evangelium, evangelium.ie, and it's on Eventbrite to Evangelium Ireland. So well worth having a check out of that. And as I say, we hope to have a little stand there, a meet and greet. And Ruth has put together a nice little home-produced leaflet of our own for shows and podcasts on radio with all our wonderful young presenters depicted on it there, just showing it to the camera. And I think we should get this published as a proper leaflet. I said to Ruth, let's do it in-house to save ourselves a few bob, because we're counting the pennies big time, and we have a colour photocopier. So it's a lovely job there in putting a little leaflet together, just advertising all our young people's shows here: the Pure in Heart Show, Faith and Reason, Total Beauty, U-Chat, the Christian Music Hour, and Vocation Stories with Father David, Cast Your Net, and Encounter. Great young people's shows on Radio Maria. It's a wonderful cross-section there of very dynamic and very active radio right there. We do have a lovely selection, I must say. So this is really nicely produced. So we must get this printed up officially and get it around to our various outlets by way of attracting young people to listen in and tune in to Radio Maria Ireland. Father David, actually, just by the by, never even knew this existed, and I'm not advertising it. Maybe, necessarily, I'm not sure. But the comedian who I would have difficulties with, Tommy Tiernan, apparently has a TV show. Wasn't aware of this, didn't know I don't have a TV, so all this is over my head completely. But on last week's show, apparently, Father David Vard was invited on. I think the way they do it is that they don't tell him who the guest is going to be, so he has to hoof it, as it were. So there's no preparation for him, at least that's what they say. And so the guest just arrives in, and Tommy has to sit down and cross-examine them and share with them. And to be fair, it seems, the bit that I saw anyway, it seems to be at least some way respectable and, with a little bit of a light-hearted touch. And Father David indeed did himself well and the church proud in the way that he sought to address some of the challenging questions naturally that the secular media puts before the church. And of course, Father David being at the age of 30, he thinks, and I think still the youngest priest in Ireland, but as he says, hopefully not for much longer. Why is it, or what would bring you to that, or how would you, so very interesting from a secular standpoint to allow that conversation to take place. So fair play to Father David, a brave thing to do, entering into that secular world. And we got some lovely feedback here into the studio on the strength of it as well. So fair play to Father David. So he'll be on this afternoon at 2:00 with Vocation Stories, and there is a plethora of marvellous podcasts of all the interviews that Father David has done with many priests and religious and lay people too on vocation. So it's a great upbeat testimonial kind of show, and it's on this lovely leaflet that Ruth has put together, shows and podcasts on Radio Maria. So fair play. So that's the Evangelium Conference. We'll give you some feedback on that. Please God, we might get hold of some of the talks maybe as well if they're recording them, and maybe able to play them back with you or borrow them as podcasts too. Now, Aidan very kindly printed off for me the text of, because I hadn't sat down to read it, of the Pope's act of consecration of Russia and Ukraine to Our Lady. It's a beautiful text. So what I'll do tomorrow, I'll share that with you, and we'll talk a bit more about it. And it reminds us here too, from vaticannews.va is the website he's taken it from, that, and again, I feel it's providential, that the act of consecration is being prayed on this Friday, which has been set aside this past few years with Pope Francis at his invitation as the 24 hours for the Lord, meaning that asking that there be confessions available most especially on that Friday of Lent. I think we're in the third week, so it must be just the third Friday of Lent, which is probably third Friday of Lent. I don't confuse myself. So again, what a remarkable God incidence, that's what they say, inviting us again, consecration, conversion. And if I can strongly recommend, and I'll give this a good push again in the next couple of days too, as part of the consecration, get to confession. As part of your Lenten journey, get to confession. I was at confession myself on Monday. I find it's a tremendous sacrament, and I try and go often because I know I need it. And I find that, the more we go, the more I go, the more I realize how much I need it and what benefits it brings. This is what consecration means. It's a desire to transform, to grow, to change, to, reorganize, again, reorientate, just correct some of the bad habits that I've got. And if I can at least start with myself, their peace can begin. I can live in the peace of the grace and the mercy of the Lord, and with God's help, like yesterday's amazing gospel, I can bring that peace through forgiveness to others and extend an open hand instead of a clenched fist. An open hand has to drop the weapon. A clenched fist will grasp at the weapon, whatever it might be, hatred or revenge or bitterness or anger. We've got to let those things go. This is what consecration is referring to. And the Pope knows well. That graphic description of the world as a field hospital, graphically wounded people. And we see it again in all its horror and on the battlefield, and we're seeing it on our screens. The same is true spiritually, at the level of faith, at the level of, that faith of grace. And we're just as in need. There's a war going on there too, and we're just as in need of God's loving mercy to heal us. So it's good to see this now. As I say, I'll share it with you over the coming days. O Mary, Mother of God and our Mother, in this time of trial, we turn to you. As our Mother, you love us and know us. No concern of our hearts is hidden from you. Mother of mercy, how often we have experienced your watchful care and your peaceful presence. You never cease to guide us to Jesus, the Prince of Peace. And just as I'm reading that again, it's just very striking. And it's just a beautiful little prayer as well. And I think we've been trying to get to work and get to grips and finish our prayer book. I think this deserves a place, most certainly. And it's quite long now that I read it. But it certainly deserves a place in our prayer book, and something that we can hold dear and renew. As we do with our act of consecration every year, we seek to make it an annual renewal of that consecration. So yes, I'll share this with you now in the coming days, and we look forward indeed to this beautiful moment. The Pope has sent this letter to all Catholic bishops ahead of the consecration, calling it a gesture of the universal Church to invoke an end to the violence and suffering of innocent people. And I'm sure he has in mind not just the war, obviously, I would think, but all the other wars, the other conflicts, the other grievous injustices that flood our world today. Let's come back to it. Let's keep talking about it. Let's, please, you share with us and converse with us and get involved in this conversation too. Let us work at it and grow together in it. So again, I'll chat more tomorrow and look forward to your company then. Thanks for being with us today, and do please stay with us. We'll take our leave here on camera now, but we'll pause. We'll allow our Angelus bells to toll, and we'll pray together now our Angelus and Midday prayer. Thank you so much for listening in to this Chatechesis Hour with me.